First off, when you're looking at this stuff, you want to make sure you get as many names as you can as possible, so you can get a look of the things that you could be doing on the average day with these companies, and being able to make more objectives occur for yourself in the near future of 931 different categories and 931 categories, and being able to use more for the look of these companies at what they do and how they react to 399 different service calls and duties and service duties, and being able to look at more of Bill Worthlight industries and enterprises, and looking at what they do, what they can do to invest in artificial beliefs of how to contain more guests of their obedience after seeing 917 guests. So that's just working with 970 hours a week, and being able to use more into the hours of Mr. Catfish than rather than Enterprise at the time. So it's pretty much where you're using 47% of Mr. Catfish on the daily trade of white, orange, and blue subscriptions and propositions. And that's pretty much where you're getting the 97-47 deal coming from, as they are two different subjects and specifications. So that's pretty much where you're getting that Mr. Catfish conclusion coming from on the side of Enterprise and Enterprise Interscopes, where you're working on at least 317 cars a day, or 317 cars a week, and being able to work with those cars every day of the week is pretty much where we're at, and being able to use those cars service wide. So whether it's being bought by a consumer and they're renting it for the next 9 weeks, or it's just serving the vehicle and servicing the vehicle, and making sure the vehicle is prominent to its next venture, is pretty much what we want to be able to help ourselves promote ourselves to. So it's pretty much using Enterprise's situation of a of a district manager, where you're working with more than 371 stores in your local county. So that's pretty much what I want to be able to promote more common rights in, and have more towards that longer field of state that we depend upon at the time. So that's just working with another 97 hours at that time, since you're able to enter that job and make those profits more contained to themselves, as they have more of $97,000 in trans tax to require for themselves. So that's pretty much working with $984 of primary sale, and dealing with sales and balances 97,000 times, and being able to deal with that registration of content is pretty much where you get more of that 917 W4 registration coming from. So that's more of that. And then as you talk about more of common right, you're talking about majority rule, talking about popular demand, and you're talking about popular rule, and being able to know more about popular rule at the time. So that's pretty much understanding more about the segregation areas back in 1953 to 2002, and being able to know more about the ratios that encounter with those types. It could be three code ratios, double code ratios, three triple code ratios. You working with your own art of imagination at your own differences and similarities, uh, contributions, which have at least 971 different objectives in 8 different paragraphs. So, that's just basically being able to use what you have around you to promote more for the change that you have. So, that was at least about 971 DOMs of trans tax that went out that was fully fried, and being able to make a exception of what you like to hear most about at the time. So that's pretty much working with 991 hours, and working with more of 907:47 a.m. Percent. So that's pretty much working with multi details within the districts of how you think, and how you register your democracy at the time. So it's just getting more embedded with free trade and debate of the central marketing systems. So that's pretty much where you got to be able to have more power in order to have right around here. So it's pretty much looking at 1971 of 2046 right now. And this is just stuff that's been here since 1791, and being able to support more for the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Articles of Confederation, and using more of what promotes time towards having decency and math coordinates towards having the right ideal of detail, coming from 1997 to 2018, and being able to carry the right detail for 971 first downs is pretty much where you're getting a game visual of Max Preps, Dave Campbell's magazine, Austin American Statesman. You're getting a channel of that good stuff on there, and basically what we're here to talk about today is more of the process of elimination, where you're doing more of 3x minus 3 at that point in time. So that's pretty much how we pay taxes, compared to it being more of this is going from wholesale to sub tax at the end of the day. So you being able to pay more of $861, $361, $89,941, $45. You can pay almost any amount that you can imagine after 2022. Making at least $89,945 a year. So it's pretty much where you're making commander in chief money. Being a aquatics director. So that's pretty much where you get that detail oriented at. So that's pretty much working with common rights of that jurisdiction of coordinates at Dave and Buster's and Adobe and PFG, and being able to deal with that part of the career assignments at the time. And it's pretty much working with iTunes, Spotify, Adobe. You're working with different 971 dimes and 46 cents of deposits at the time. So it's pretty much where you're working with more of geometry, biology, physics to promote for that common rate. So that's pretty much where you're working with that. Other than that, you're working with more of patterns and codes, 29, 45, 45. You're working with codes and patterns at the time. So it's pretty much where you're using more for your 200 or more for your $97. And it's pretty much where you're using a code for that, and being able to make more for the $97 exchange that you make daily and weekly. So it's pretty much what you doing with that, other than using $200 every 2010 month that goes by. So it's pretty much where you're being able to use $97, and you can use it any way you like at that time. You got a choice of decision whether you want it in ones, or do you want it in fives, or do you want it in tens. And that's pretty much where you're using a large $9,700 if you're using the tens instead of the ones. So that's pretty much a big detail that we use in the subscriptions nowadays of blue, green, and orange objectives. And it's pretty much where you're using more of a accommodated look of 2029 to 2045, and being able to use a $97 exchange for a $3,000 payment is pretty much what you're looking for. So it's pretty much up the alley, and using more into that acknowledgement. And that's basically where you're getting your pennies and your tens coming from. And it's pretty much, as you're looking for 391 ways how to collect money, that's pretty much a greater exception way. If you collect these three times 4 times 5, you can collect it 3, 4, or 5 times. You being had that 391 times of purchases that you can afford worth $3,000, $335 times. So that's pretty much working on a mathematics equation right there, and it's nothing but prometric money at that time. It does nothing but go one way, and that one way is positive way in that enhancement. So that's pretty much using 934 dimes 345 times to be able to get this type of instance, and being able to calculate those type of spectrum ratios of 29, 79. This is basically using a $5,000 ratio, whether it's Acura, Infiniti, or Audi. You're using 29, 79, and 880 to promote more for that Audi or that Infiniti or that Acura at the time. So that's pretty much where you're using that whole 5,000 going towards that, and being able to promote more for that code as you provide more for Ego Leaf multi-platforms. Excuse me, y'all. So so you're just working with EcoLeaf multi-platforms, and being able to understand more about the codes that go within those midpoints. Being able to deal with 371 codes within those midpoints that uses those codes within the local state that is in. So that's pretty much where you finding different applications available for that type of detail, so you can be able to figure it out. So it's just like a governmental profile at the time, and being able to know it more of a website and passion characteristics at the time. So that's pretty much where we're using that whole detail of 2010 and 2945 and 3543.